What's up, beautiful people? Now, I know 2016 has not been the best year for, well, the rest of the world, but honestly, 2016 was an amazing year for me. I've gone on so many different adventures: DC, Atlanta, Austin, and of course, Vietnam. I can definitely say that I've grown up a bit and I've learned a lot more this year. So the first big thing I decided to do this year was, well, start this channel. Originally, I wanted to use this channel as a creative outlet for me and my imagination, and it really has been. So the first video I actually released on this channel was just a simple 10 facts about me, but honestly, if I were looking back at it now, I am cringing so hard. But hey, everybody has their first video, right? It was at that time I kicked off my QC Eats series, which was pretty popular. Honestly, it was a little bit short-lived, but it was incredibly fun shooting for. I was able to eat a lot of delicious, amazing food, and as you guys know, I have a soft spot in my heart for amazing food, but let's be honest here, who doesn't? And one of the things I really want to do in 2017 is actually pick this series back up, knowing that I'll have a little bit more time. And of course, I would love if you guys would come and follow me to check out these amazing foodie spots. I promise I will deliver. So around this time too, I actually started picking up travel vlogging, which was definitely a little bit weird for me because I wasn't used to taking a camera wherever I go and talking to it. It'd be a little weird, especially looking at people's reaction like, what is this guy doing? So if my little piece of advice for anybody who's thinking of picking up vlogging, like if you're walking through the airport or if you're walking through the middle of the street, just do it. Don't worry about it. I know it might seem a little bit weird at first, but once you get the hang of things, you're not gonna even notice other people that are staring at you. The funny thing is, one thing I always notice is that whenever you're in front of a camera and you're vlogging, people either want to be in that camera shot, they'll do like crazy actions behind it, or they will avoid it like the plague. But anyways, doing a scripted shoot is very, very different from vlogging. And this is mainly because vlogging required a lot of on-the-spot creativity, which I just wasn't used to. So if you guys notice, in my first travel vlog to Atlanta, there are no speaking parts into that. There's mainly just montage video. And the thing is, I actually shot a lot of parts of me talking in front of the camera, but because I wasn't used to the process, it just came out so cringeworthy. However, in my next couple travel vlogs, I did start talking a little bit more as I did get a little bit more comfortable with the camera. And a prime example of that is you can see that in my DC vlogs. So one thing that I did outside of my videos that I never really shared was my spoken word. So if you don't know what spoken word is, it's a form of poetry. It's meant to be broadcasted or performed. And I actually found it as a great outlet for my imagination and just any sort of feelings I had. Now, I had actually previously performed a good amount at different venues in Charlotte, my first being at UNCC's ASA's Hello Asia, actually. However, in mid-February this year, I actually had an amazing opportunity, this time to perform again at UNCC, but this time for Vietnamese Student Association's VSA's Charlotte by Night event. It was a really, really fun night, and admittedly, I got way too geeky at the end.
I'm here today to talk to you about bonds, chemical bonds. Yes! You see, these bonds form around atoms as they dance around in tandem too far and they fall apart, too close and they repel it hard. But it is this universal balance, this feat greater than any other challenge. But the closest electrons never truly stray away from its proton, even if it conflates. You see, their bonds were forged at its birth, bound to each other as fate, and when their negative and positive clashes, their forces negate, creating charges that neither increase nor abate. But y'all probably like, Andy, I came here to listen to some poetry. Why are you talking about chemistry over here, right? So what I'm telling you today is that the most important thing we do as humans on Earth, always remember, is the bonds that we create. You see, the most precious things aren't locked up in vaults or buried in dirt. It is the friends that we make, the emotions that we share, and the love that we embrace. You see, and like an electron that is able to break through its shell to become refined, we must too break through ours, but never leave those bonds behind.
But overall, I think people enjoyed it, so that's a bonus. Speaking of spoken word, I was also able to perform on the same stage as one of my favorite poets of all time, G. Yamazawa. Now, if you haven't heard of him before, I'll link some of his stuff down in the description below. You guys should totally check him out. He is dope. Anyways, Come June, it was finally time for my big trip back to Vietnam. Now, I've been planning this trip for about 7 months now. I couldn't believe it was finally here. I actually started packing like months in advance, but it didn't really hit me until I was actually on the plane itself. Now, it had been about 10 years, give or take, since my last trip to Vietnam, and this time it was definitely different. First of all, I was flying by myself, and it was a 29-hour journey from Charlotte to Ho Chi Minh City. And oh my lord, it was a taxing journey. But surprisingly, the jet lag didn't hit me that bad. On the way back though, that's a different story. But Vietnam to me wasn't just a vacation trip. It was a reconnecting with my roots. Walking the streets that my parents grew up in, seeing the house that my dad grew up in and lived in, and that my aunts still live in. It was definitely very, very heartwarming. Of course, I also saw the woman who raised me when I was a child, my grandma, and it was an incredibly heartfelt moment. I also had a chance to go out to my dad's hometown, or NhaUe. Now this by far was the most humbling experience I've had ever in my life, really. Imagine no running water, barely any electricity. It was, let's just say, a very interesting moment, but more on that later. But I really can't tell you just all the amazing encounters that I've had in Vietnam. It was definitely a trip that I will never forget, and it made me appreciate living in America just that much more. So if you noticed, in early October, I actually stopped making videos for a little bit. But there's a very, very good reason for this, I promise. And that's actually because earlier this year, I had joined 3 of my friends, Hilda, Hilton, and Kevin, on their media production team known as Moon Rising Productions. Together we made commercial videos for a lot of different businesses, and all the while we started learning a lot about media production. But something else also came up. So about late July, early August, an idea popped up in our heads. Now, previously I had done a lot of escape rooms before, and I enjoy doing them. I say it kind of tickles your brain a little bit when you do it. And of course it was just a little seed in my head, but I actually wanted to open up my own escape room. But as many of you guys may know, opening a business is really tough. But luckily, Hilda and Hilton also piqued the same interest as me. So ever since like that time in August, we've been trying to plan and build an escape room that hopefully we can call it the best in Charlotte. So if you haven't done or you don't know what an escape room is, the basic concept behind it is you're locked in a room for about an hour, and you know, they have different types of themes, zombie themes, detective themes, you name it. So if you're in Charlotte right now and you haven't done an escape room before, I would highly suggest, there's about 6 or 7 in Charlotte right now. Just Google up escape room in your area and I'm sure at least one will pop up. However, what sets our place apart, I would say, is our storyline. We really try to incorporate as much of our storyline into the escape room experience, trying to create a fully immersive experience for our customers. We'd like to think of it that we're first and foremost movie makers, right? Except now we want to bring our audience into living the experience and not just watching it on film. So to give you guys an update, at the time of the release of this video, we are currently beta testing 2 of our rooms right now and 1 more on the way. But if you want to see more of the process of us building the channel and just creating a business in general, then you can check out that link right here. Right there. So to wrap it up, 2016 has just been an amazing year with incredible opportunities for me. I mean, I couldn't even imagine being a business owner at the start of this year as I am now. And I am so incredibly thankful for anybody who has been supportive of me throughout this entire journey, because I don't know what I would be doing if I didn't have those being supportive behind me. I'd probably just be crying in a corner. And so all I really want to say is thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, and I hope you guys have a happy new year. Stay safe.